Hey guys, thanks for coming back. This weekend I saw Taken 2 with Liam Neeson, Famke Janssen, and Maggie Grace. This is With a K review. I'm Victor, let's get to it. Okay, now it's taken 4 years for us to get the sequel to Taken, and I don't really understand why there had to be a sequel, but I guess we're just gonna have to accept that for now. For Taken 2, we do have a new director. His name is Oliver Megaton, and he has a few American movies underneath his belt. He did Colombiana, which was with Zoe Saldana, and The Transporter 3, which was meh. So within the first 5 minutes of this movie, we're introduced to the movie's main villain. And he doesn't actually have a name in the movie. I think it's actually maybe said maybe once or twice in the movie, but I don't even actually know his name. But he wants revenge against Liam Neeson because Liam Neeson was the one who killed his son in the first one. Just to catch everybody up, his son in the first movie was the one who kidnapped Liam's daughter and tried to sell her into his own sex slavery ring. And he actually admits that in the movie. He admits to Liam, I know my son was selling girls to an underage, sex slavery ring, but you know what? I loved him anyway. So Liam Neeson's character ends up going to Istanbul to do some security work, and it's not really explained why he's still doing the security thing, because I thought he was retired from the first movie, but well, we'll just pretend that he's still doing it for whatever reasons. And then out of nowhere, his wife and daughter join him in a foreign country, which I guess they didn't learn from the first time that was a bad thing. The daughter in the movie is again played by Maggie Grace, and she's been like in a handful of other movies over the past couple of years. I remember her as a character on Lost for a couple seasons, but you may remember her from the Guy Pearce movie Lockout, which wasn't a successful one. Now I want to admit to you guys something about the first Taken movie. I wanted her character, Maggie Grace's character, to die in that movie. And to express this to you, I'd like to show you what my internal thoughts were during that movie as it progressed. I want you to die. Don't save her, Liam. Leave her. Leave her. She needs to die. You, with the gun, kill her. Kill her now. No, kill her. Kill her. I will come into the movie and I will murder her. Oh, your friend overdosed. Oh my god, that's terrible. Use what's left of the needle. Good job, Liam. Thanks for saving her. Now kill her. Now, also in this movie, you have Famke Janssen returning as Mill's wife, and a lot of us remember her as Jean Grey from the X-Men series, but I remember her from the first Pierce Brosnan 007 movie as Xena Onatopp. You know, the woman with the iron thighs? That's the O-face. Now, to be honest, I really thought this movie was going to go into the much darker side of Liam Neeson's character. And I thought it was going to be something about, fatherly revenge. He is getting revenge on the people who took his wife and daughter in the second movie. And the other father wants revenge against Liam Neeson because he killed his son in the first. And I really thought there was going to be some weird, thing throughout the entire thing. They were going to be fighting each other and they were just really going to get intellectual in this movie. However, actually, that happens at the end of the movie, and that really surprised me because I thought it was going to be out through the entire thing, but at the very end of the movie, they actually have that conversation about whose revenge is right and everything like that. They have one conversation. Throughout the rest of the movie, Liam Neeson goes through and is a complete badass, which is fine with me. He can be a complete badass. I don't want to say anything wrong about that because I don't want him to show up at my front door. And there are cool parts to this movie, the way he does some of the tracking and so forth, but those are just little bits of it, because in the first one, it was actually a continuous thing. He continually went after the people. And in this movie, it was a lot of stutter stopping. The action was good, but it just really wasn't as good as the first one, and that kind of surprised me. Now, about halfway through the movie, I thought there was going to be some sort of hiring of some ultra badass character to go against Liam Neeson to kind of pick everything up, but the main villain in the movie actually hired some goon to torture the wife in one scene. And I was like, okay, so there's not going to be any sort of type mega badass to go against Liam Neeson, and then at the very end, the guy who was torturing the wife gets on some sort of stage, and it could have been a kung fu stage. That's just what it looked like. It was a big circle, and they both got on top of it. And then the torturing guy, who's looks like the Middle Eastern version of Sammo Hung in a tracksuit, starts going hand-to-hand combat with Liam Neeson and pwns Liam Neeson at least 3 to 4 times. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is going on? So the one guy that was hired halfway through the movie decides to become Mr. Mega Badass at the end and completely knock down Liam Neeson 3 or 4 times? That doesn't make any sense. This movie really didn't work for me at all, and I really thought that it would. I really thought Taken 2 was going to amp everything up, but it ended up being in one solitary place in Istanbul, and it really didn't go far from where it began at the hotel. It went I don't know, a couple miles. So all in all, this movie had some good points to it. Maggie Grace's character wasn't as annoying as it was in the first one, but everything else just really failed. A lot of the action was just okay. Liam Neeson, still a complete badass, don't get me wrong. And he was really the only one in this movie that actually brought it to life, and that's why this movie only gets a 1.5K review. This movie could have been so much better. It could have added all those dark elements of his character and how he goes on autopilot, and how he's dealing with revenge, and how he's dealing with the other father's revenge. But it just doesn't get there, and the movie fails on all aspects. So I'm going to tell you, do not go see this movie in theaters. When it comes out on video, rent it for $1, and if it's on the streaming things, just put that in, like, lower in the queue if you really don't like Liam Neeson, but if you really like him, maybe put it up in your top 30. Thanks guys for watching my show. I really appreciate all the subscribers that I have. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click above to subscribe. And remember, if you don't like the movie that you're watching, you can always turn it off. Thanks, guys.